This is History Myths and Misconceptions, and today's myth is Caligula made his horse a consul. You should always be careful with making analogies and placing modern concepts into the past, but sometimes it is absolutely necessary. You just need to proceed with caution. Saying that Caligula made his horse a consul is practically the same as saying that Donald Trump made his horse a vice president. It is absolutely impossible. It can't be done. It's a joke. People have serious misconceptions about certain historical periods, or sometimes selective misconceptions. Ancient Rome gave us many things, including the basis for the system of law, or foundations of certain political systems. For example, most of the republics of the new era are directly or indirectly modeled after the Roman Republic. But somehow people read wild anecdotes by the ancient historians. And yeah, they absolutely like wild anecdotes, especially when it comes to political figures that they hate, like Gaius Caligula. People read these anecdotes and forget that there was a certain political system, and this system was complex. We don't know how complex exactly, because we don't have enough sources for that. We have some understanding, and we know as a fact that, for example, ancient Rome was a quite advanced society. It was in many ways more advanced, even technologically, than a large number of societies of the 19th century. You cannot appoint your horse a consul or a tribune. You just can't. This is not how it works. Can you imagine, say, Queen Victoria, a powerful and quite authoritarian monarch, appointing her horse a prime minister? No, you can't. Same here. Gaius Caligula was a person who officially even wasn't a monarch. The Roman government of his time was a strange system, and, as we said earlier, we don't really have a full understanding of how it worked, especially when it comes to the behind-the-scenes politics of the Roman state. Yes, Gaius Caligula was more or less a de facto head of the state, and this state was more or less an elective monarchy disguised as an aristocratic republic. He quite probably had more political power than most of the presidents of the United States. He, again, quite probably had less political power than, say, Queen Victoria we mentioned before. He couldn't just do whatever he wanted. And no, you can't employ this narrative of he was a mad emperor or he was completely insane while Queen Victoria wasn't. Gaius Caligula was a subject of character assassination by the ancient historians. We don't know if he was insane, like an actual medical condition. But even if he was, he never had unlimited power. Yes, at some point he really crossed the line and the Senate was really tired of him. So Gaius was killed. But horses in the Senate? Seriously? As you probably noticed, this video is not really about Caligula and his horse. It is about a serious misconception of how governments work. And the horse? There are only two primary sources on Gaius Caligula. Yeah, there is this anecdote that Gaius, who hated the Senate, once said, as a joke, something like, "You're all idiots, I can make my horse a senator, he probably can do a better job." And that's it. It is a joke. That was artificially inflated by the ancient authors, who absolutely hated Gaius Caligula. And even the ancient authors don't tell us that the guy actually made his horse a consul. He couldn't do it. It was impossible. But in recent times, this old story mutated into this wildly inaccurate monstrosity of Caligula made his horse a consul that defies all common sense.